So 2021, we're coming up on the end of the year, and that means one thing: predictions for 2022. But 2021, looking back, it was definitely an odd year. There was plenty of good, some bad, but more or less I would describe the year as interesting. We're still dealing with supply chain bottleneck. We're still dealing with shortages of parts, bikes, and accessories. And we're still not traveling nearly as much as we were a few years ago. But turning the calendar page over another year means that we're getting that much closer to normal, even though that still might be 2 years away. So last year we published a video on the predictions of 2021, where I asked the editors of BIKEPACKING.com what they thought was going to happen in the year and some desires for the year as well. So in this video, we're going to do the same, but we're also going to analyze some of those predictions from 2021 while sharing predictions for 2022. Let's have some fun. Before I jump into the predictions, I just want to thank everybody that has subscribed this year, watched our videos, commented, liked, disliked. You have all helped us grow this channel, and I am forever grateful for that because this is something I'm really passionate about. I love doing it, and if you look behind me, you can tell my workbench, it's a little messy, but that's because I'm constantly doing stuff for this YouTube channel because you all continue to watch my videos and give me awesome suggestions. So it's basically nonstop down here, which I truly love. So thank you all so much for the support. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And I wanted to show you something right here. This is the Bikepacking Journal. This is volume 6. And if you want to get the Bikepacking Journal, all you have to do is sign up for the Bikepacking Collective. I've provided a link below, but in general, the Bikepacking Collective helps support us at BIKEPACKING.com, but it also gives back to you with discounts, giveaways, and the Bikepacking Journal 2 times a year. Thank you all so much for the support. Predictions! All right, so we're gonna start with Logan Watts because we started with Logan Watts last year. So one of Logan's predictions for 2021 was more local knowledge-based routes. And Logan's thought was people aren't traveling nearly as much, so they're probably going to explore their backyard a little bit more, especially shorter, quicker trips. And this turned out to be pretty darn true. We got a ton of local bikepacking overnighters submitted to BIKEPACKING.com this year, including a bunch in areas that don't have any bikepacking routes currently. It's really cool, especially for folks like me that grew up in the Midwest. It was always a struggle to figure out where to go bikepacking, and we understand with people that have busy lives, the planning aspect is not as easy. So now there are a variety of cool local options so that you don't necessarily have to travel far to go to, say, a destination route. So Logan's 2022 prediction is more bike companies are going to move production closer to home. As supply chain woes continue their grip on the cycling industry, raw materials become harder to access and overseas shipping gets more expensive. And a lot of bike companies are just looking into adjusting their processes. Logan expects some smaller European and US based bike companies to change the way their bikes are made by making them closer to home. Germany's Sauer Bikes just did this, and Ibis has been working on carbon manufacturing in California for quite some time now. All right, so next up is Lucas, and Lucas's prediction from 2021 is less won't always be more. And Lucas predicted that we would see more big flap saddlebags, basket packing, and more of a hybrid approach so that folks could bring along more gear on their bike packing trips. And I think there was a lot of that in 2021. Now there's always a time and a place for a minimalist setup, but there's also a time and a place for having fun. And I think this adds to having fun. There's a growing contingent of folks riding with canvas, with racks, and long flap saddlebags, trying not to take cycling so seriously. And this idea actually lends itself to obviously having more fun, but less frustration, less scratching your head deciding on whether an article of clothing or an AeroPress is going to fit in your bikepacking kit. Bikepacking is supposed to be fun, and bringing the things that are enjoyable will help that. For me personally, 2022 is definitely the year where I'm gonna be testing this theory a little bit more and trying to have a little bit more fun. So Lucas's prediction for 2022 is a resurgence of local riding clubs and a strengthening of local cycling community. Lucas thinks that people are going to slow down and appreciate time out on the bike together in the absence of being able to easily travel to faraway places. And I can totally relate to this just talking with friends in my local community, trying to get together folks for a good night 2020 overnighter or just some simple overnighters this coming year. All right, so moving on to Miles, and Miles's prediction for last year was local makers unite. So what he meant by this was he thought more local makers would work together. So say a bike manufacturer and a bike bag manufacturer would work in unison to produce a really cool bike packing setup. He also thought that more folks would help support local businesses. And both of those things happened, but I think those things are gonna happen for many years to come. And they always have here in the bike packing world because it's a small community and we like to work together because we are our own resources. I got a variety of commenters on YouTube this year saying, oh, where did you get that custom frame bag? Or what is this custom frame bag? And I usually just say who it is or who made it. But I also mentioned that they should check the local makers in their town or a close by city or their state because supporting local is important. So Miles's 2022 prediction is kind of similar to Lucas's 2021 prediction. Miles thinks that we're going to see more bolt-on micro panniers and more cargo cages in the world. Miles believes that we've moved on from those ultra light bike packing setups, but we've also moved on from racks and panniers, and we're gonna see them kind of meet in the middle. So Miles believes we're gonna see something a little bit more sturdier and tighter than small panniers, but more versatile than lightweight soft bags. So moving on to Joe Cruz. And last year, Joe predicted that we would see more DIY bike setups and bike packing setups. Because of the shortage of bikes, Joe thought that folks would try to find a frame and parts and build up just a one-off bike to make it work because bikes were really hard to come by. And we recognize a lot of people doing that this year. Just on the YouTube channel in the comments section, I can't tell you how many people were mentioning how they found a frame, they found components, and they built up a fantastic bike. This idea is the testament to the cycling community. The willingness to take the hard way to build up a frame so that they can enjoy the simple pleasures of riding a bike. It is truly admirable, and I know that there's folks that do this all the time. The YouTube channel Old Shovel, rebuilding old bikes. I love watching his videos, and I just think we're gonna see a lot more of this, and not to mention, it's recycling. It's good on the environment. All right, so Joe's 2022 prediction is a little complex, but hear me out. So Joe believes that we are going to vividly see the effects of professionalized gravel racing and events unifying the standardization under national and international sanctioning sports bodies. So Joe believes that the gravel scene is going to get as big as, say, the road scene, or I'm sure plenty of you watch Red Bull TV and watch the UCI mountain bike, downhill, or XC. I know I do, and it's super fun to watch. And Joe thinks that's gonna happen to gravel. And Joe truly admires top-level cycling athletes at any of their disciplines. But Joe's interesting thought here was he thinks that this might help break off those racing-focused bikes from the adventure-focused bikes. And there will be a clear differentiating factor between the two bikes. Because clearly right now, there are a few companies, well, not a few, there are a ton of companies that market their race gravel bikes as adventure bikes. And really, when you think about it, these are two almost completely opposite disciplines. So Joe thinks if gravel racing comes to be seen as its own niche thing, there's a chance for other kinds of bikes to evolve and flourish without the distraction of always making a bike so that a privateer can maybe sorta race on it. Only time will tell. My prediction for last year was we're gonna see more e-bikes in the bike packing realm. And while that didn't necessarily come to fruition this year, mostly because, well, I think a lot of bikes are on the back burner, a lot of bikes are delayed by a few years, but I do think it's going to happen in 2022. But the fact is, e-bikes, they're kind of carrying the cycling industry right now. Not to mention, well, more people are getting e-bikes, so they're gonna be more creative with their adventures. REI just published a video of somebody bike packing, I think it was like a 90-mile e-bike bike packing trip. There was a ton of commenters in the comment section that were like, oh my gosh, we need to see more content like this. But is that really bike packing? I guess a question to pose is bike packing supposed to be self-supported? I think about backpacking in this instance and think about what can you do to make backpacking easier? Until they have drones that pick up your backpack at one campsite and drop it off 15 miles away at your next campsite, It's self-sufficiency, and that's what backpacking is. And so that's what I hope bike packing remains. But I understand the need for e-assist bike packing because I know there's some people that just can't simply do it on their own. So I think that there is a time and a place, but what do you all think? So my prediction for 2022 is there's going to be more kindness over hate. There's been a lot of division over the last few years, and I definitely even get caught up in it. I need to just be more kind. I need to put myself in more people's shoes. I need to understand more people's lives. I need to understand more people's backgrounds. It's really interesting. I'd take the YouTube channel, for instance. With the growth of the channel comes just so many people that are masked behind their computers and their phones, making comments that are pretty ridiculous. So in 2022, I predict we'll see less hate and more unity. And if we don't, like my friend Ryan Van Duzer says, kill him with kindness. So now it is time to hear from you all. What is your predictions for 2022? And if you have any comments or questions regarding the predictions that we have, put them in the comment section below. As always, thank you all so much. And until next time, pedal further.